Hello Flickering Myth family and welcome to our channel. My name is EJ and we have a new review for you. We are going to be jumping into the Christmas themed horror film, which is a bit of a parody of things like The Grinch and Hallmark movies. Oh yeah, we're talking about The Mean One. The Mean One is a brand new independent horror film, an ultra low budget indie horror that I was really impressed with. I liked what was offered up here. Is it the best movie I've seen all year? No, it's, an independent horror film. Sometimes the acting isn't so strong, sometimes it has a bit of a cheaper feel. We'll jump into the goods and the bads in a minute, but I really want to say round of applause for a great idea for a parody. What a really interesting tone and character and stuff that they decided to dive into. So obviously with The Mean One, they're going to be talking about The Grinch. How The Grinch Stole Christmas is one of the most infamous Christmas stories of all time. So many people love it, from the animated film to the weird CG animated film, and then you have the iconic Jim Carrey performance from the 2000s, which I will talk about that more because wow, there is a bit of Jim Carrey in this performance and I loved it. But yeah, I was really impressed with this idea. It's a fresh, different take. I know that they're going to be doing the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, and then we had the Banana Splits horror movie not too long ago. So changing children's IP to make it a bit horror isn't the brand new concept, but I thought this was a fresh take. I love holiday horror films, so making the Grinch a new villain-ish character, or at least, well, whoever it is, the Mean One, making him a new villainous character is a genius idea, and it makes for an entertaining romp. I like the idea that they are twisting this up also with a bit of Hallmark films, with a bit of those Lifetime channel Christmas movies. I have a parent who absolutely watches way too many of those, so I liked a lot of the tropes being seen there and here. The girl returning to her hometown, the evil mayor who's trying to ruin the life, the odd relationship being built, all these little moments here or there. I was just like, that's cute, and it just kind of slapped you in the face when it gets gory. It's an interesting balance. They really tried something here. I have seen so many movies this year. Specifically, I've seen a lot of horror films, and a lot of them are just phoning it in, doing what we've seen 1,000 times before, but The Mean One is actually doing something different. It's trying to make a slasher movie. It's trying to invoke things like Krampus and mix it with something that we all know. I don't know, all of this came together for an enjoyable experience, and The Mean One will go down as one of my surprises of the year. In The Mean One, Cindy returns to her hometown where we've seen the death of her parents, and she decides, I have to figure out what the hell happened to them, who was the mysterious green killer of them, the Christmas killer, and I need some justice. And then when she gets back into town, the Mean One starts slashing people up again. But here we also have a mayor who's trying to shut this down. She wants that re-election. She wants to make sure nothing bad happens to it. I liked the basic setup of this. This is that Jaws thing where I love the mayor is trying to quiet down the killings because they need the re-election and all that. It's just a simple little plot that works. The Cindy stuff is very interesting as well. It kind of harkens back to a lot of 80s slashers where we see the traumatic past to the adult present. Things like that really do make this as an easy viewing. I'm glad they didn't try to reinvent the wheel with the story. I will talk about Terrifier in a moment because we have the wonderful David Howard Thornton here as our Mean One, but Terrifier tries to reinvent the wheel too many times. I'm like, bro, just make a basic slasher. I don't need the weird supernatural elements I saw in Terrifier 2. So yeah, I like that this was just trying to make a straight up movie because they already have a lot going on with the parodies of different things. They needed to not clutter it up too crazy and let the fun violence speak for themselves and let the showdown between Cindy and the Mean One really sell the film. I just mentioned David Howard Thornton, who is known as Art the Clown in the Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2. I love this actor. He brings such a great quality to this film. He makes The Mean One better than it has any right to be. I was thoroughly impressed with his physicality, his performances, this doesn't remind me of Art the Clown. There's moments where, where he doesn't really talk a lot, so you're kind of like, oh, he has a lot of physicality. He's a very good physical actor. But what I really liked is there was moments that I just felt like he was straight up Jim Carrey from The Grinch. There is a level of childlike wonderment to this character that is so creepy and fun and recognizable. I really think David Howard Thornton is coming into his own as one of those just one of those actors that I'm like, you're good. You are going to be a genre pro. Like, we're going to be talking about this actor and his performances from The Mean One to Terrifier for quite some time. I honestly would see more from this character to kind of bring it back again to the Terrifier movies, and not trying to compare them as movies. They're very different things, trying to accomplish very different things. But at the same time, I like the indie movies that I could see it grow more. Give this filmmaker, give this production a bit more money, and I would see a Mean One too. Like the upping of what we saw from Terrifier 1 to Terrifier 2. It's what you want in your indie horror. You want that little small indie one to do good at first, and then you come out with a sequel and it makes a big old splash. That's what we could see with The Mean One. I think there's a lot of potential here. Speaking of potential, Stephen LaMorte is the director of this film, and I really like what he did, though I will say there were some very obvious limitations with the budget. Some of the cinematography looks so bland. There was a lot of weird night to day shots where I'm like, this feels like it was shot in daytime and you did some stuff in post to make it look nighttime. Not great. And I will say, wow, there was one of the kills. It was one of my favorite moments here. It was very comedic. It's the restaurant kill where the Mean One really gets to unleash for the first time. And there was some bad CG blood. I mean, bad. And I know in stunt work or horror choreography, you usually want to make sure nothing goes wrong when you're doing longer takes, so you sometimes will add in blood and post to kind of make sure oh wow, the squib didn't work, that blood gag didn't, it failed, so we ruined this whole take. I think that's what they were trying to do here, but it really kind of hindered the experience. There was that a little bit through some of the gore. I was just expecting a little bit more polish from the horror side of this. I love the premise, I love the story, and it did go well, and I had a good time, but there was some very obvious distractions. But like I said, potential. I would like to see this filmmaker return for a bigger budgeted project, or hell, even do a Mean One too, but add more flair to it. I don't know, who else can you homage? Can there be an evil Rudolph in here? What about Killer Frosty? Oh, never mind, I've seen Jack Frost. Let's not bring those back. But yes, I think there's a lot of potential with this filmmaker, and a lot with this film. There's obvious low-budget limitations. If low-budget filmmaking is a turnoff for you and you're like, oh, I can't stand anything that's less than perfect, then don't watch these kind of movies. But for me, I eat these kind of things up, and I can appreciate the beauty and the low budgetness and the cheapness of it. I see what they're trying to do, but there is some very obvious negatives I did have to say, because this isn't just a glowingly positive review. There is things here that does make this a bit weaker, but at the same time, it adds a charm to it. It makes that movie that much cuter. The release of The Mean One is just around the corner, and he is here to steal Christmas away from, I don't know, Violent Night or any of the other holiday horror films you're going to be watching this year. This could be a cult classic in the making. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy my review. Share your feelings down in the comments below. If you've seen The Mean One, what did you think of it? Did you appreciate its craziness? What about David Howard Thornton's performance? Did you love that as much as I did? Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe to Flickering Myth and give us a thumbs up if you did enjoy. All right, everyone, let's talk about The Mean One down below.